Welcome back to the Dungeon Master's Block, the place where we come to talk about the Dungeon Master, the most important person in the game. With every conversation, we hope to inspire as many as possible to keep on Dungeon Mastering.
And I'm one of your hosts, DM Neal, aka Jote Moniac.
And I'm one of your other hosts, DM Derrick, aka How Not to DM. And today, it's just the two of us. And we are talking about magical items that are a good or bad idea to give to your lower level parties.
Yeah, we thought we would just go right ahead and make our own DM-nastic style clickbaity nonsense. The 5 best and the 5 worst tier 1 magic items that have ever existed in D&D. And you're wrong if you disagree with us. Welcome to the internet.
And the fun part is that Neal and I have not shared our lists with each other, so we're going to see if we put the same item on our lists.
We're
and
so hopeful.
What our reasons are.
So
yeah,
hopeful.
it'll be really fun if that's the case.
So if this feels a little frenetic, it's the first time we're not using a shared outline. I have like my notes app. I know you're in your notes app, and I'm just have a random outline up. So my fingers are very crossed that one of us will say something that the other has on their list. Because I have chosen the worst, and you have chosen the best. Man, that would have been really funny if you were like, no, I also did the worst.
I guess it would just be the 10 worst in that case, yeah.
Yeah, all of that to say, a couple housekeeping items, as we often like to say. As always, we're really pushing for creating something over on the Discord that anyone that goes can love and enjoy. And one of the things we're going to do here, so we will be having office hours on June 11th from 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. So if you can join us, join the Discord. It's bit.ly/DM banter. And for this one, we'll definitely have it open to anybody. So we'll take all TTRPG related questions. Maybe they're extremely personal questions, and maybe I'll answer them. We don't know, because this will be our first time trying this out.
Yeah. Again, that's 8 p.m. Pacific. So it's a bit late for folks who are out in Eastern time or who are in Europe. But our Pacific friends, our friends in Oceania, etc., maybe it's a good time for you. I don't know. We're going to see. But we're going to try it out. If we get feedback that, different times might work better, we're happy to oblige.
Yep. Also, this is a random thing that has been a long time since we've said these words. But if you check the show notes, we have recently joined the affiliate program for Noble Knight Games. It's where I buy the vast majority of things I absolutely don't need, but will spend my money on regardless. So if you're interested in buying something on Noble Knight, it's basically a place that also, it's a great place that if you have way too much stuff, like I do, that you can send it back to them. They'll give you money that you're inevitably going to spend on something else. So I actually have a box headed their way right now, and they'll give me store credit because I know I'm going to buy something off of their site. So if you check the show notes, there'll be an affiliate link to nobleknightgames.com. And like I said, they're a really good company. All their customer service has been fantastic, and it's a lot of stuff, new and old, and the best place to find it.
Yeah, I've checked it out once I saw those emails coming through. They support D&D, Pathfinder, World of Darkness games, Call of Cthulhu, Shadowrun, Starfinder. They have stuff from the original TSR Publishing, Paizo, Wizards of the Coast, Goodman Games, White Wolf, Frog God Games, Modifius, and Palladium, and more. So yeah, definitely worth a check if you're going to be buying stuff anyway and you want to help support us. That'd be a great way to do it.
Yeah, the thing I actually realized recently that I don't know that I enjoy. It's a love-hate relationship at times because then I find more things that I want. But I recently realized that they sell novels on there as well as, technically it's a book. So yeah, it unlocked a whole new section of the site that I probably needed to not know about. But I do know about it now. So come, help support my problem. Use our affiliate link.
All right. Well, with all of that out of the way, we're really excited for those office hours, so make sure to tune in. But let's head to the meat.
I'm starving. We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days.
Why can't we have some meats?
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Now that we're on the other side, this is actually very funny. Let's do this, because it's been such a long time since it's been you or I. Can you tell me something about yourself that you think the listeners want to know?
I can, Neal. This is pretty exciting. I've mentioned a handful of times on the show that I've been getting into improv comedy. It was kind of a gateway drug. I've heard many people say that D&D leads you to improv and improv leads you to D&D. So they both kind of like feed into each other. So I started doing improv classes with a player from my group who takes turns DMing with me. He said, hey, we should do this just to see what it's like. And I had so much fun and they told me, hey, have you ever thought about performing on stage after I was done with the beginner course?
Oh,
and
nice.
I said, I mean, no, but now I am, now I'm thinking about it. And so, yeah, I've been taking classes. I took classes for about a year, and then they put me in kind of like a swing cast for the weekend show. So I've been doing that for a few months now. I've done 3 or 4 shows with this particular theater, and then a couple of friends and I have put together other groups, and we've gone up and done shows up in Salt Lake City. So, it's like a half-hour drive from where I live, but we've done a couple shows up there too. So that's been a ton of fun. All that is to say, this fall, some of my friends and I have put together a group, and we have pitched a show that's like a D&D style sitcom show that we're going to be piloting and trying out, I think, once or twice at a theater up in Salt Lake. So we're kind of in the middle of planning and like working on that, like workshopping characters and what kind of story framework we want to like kind of use. I mean, it's improv, so you're trying to go with what makes sense and what's going to be funny, but also, you want to have some kind of guardrails set up. And so, yeah, I'm actually in the middle of doing that, and it's been a lot of fun. And the improv side of things is interesting because it's a lot of focus on like telling little stories or telling interesting stories, but it's in a way that I've never really thought about the storytelling that I do around the table. And it's kind of given me some tools to use within small encounters or across, long story arcs that I'm telling. It's been really fun to kind of like look through a new lens while I'm running games. So I highly encourage anybody who's listening, if you haven't taken classes, there's tons of theaters out there who do beginner courses for a few $100 here or there. So if you kind of live in a larger populated area, maybe it's worth a shot to look around at theaters and see if there's any around you and dip your toes in and see if you like it. You don't have to be like the most outgoing or smart or funny person to like be good at improv. You just have to be willing to, roll with it and react honestly and see where it goes. So yeah, that's a little bit about what's going on in my life other than tabletops, and it's been a ton of fun.
Nice. I will say because this is a very random aside, but if you are looking to make an AP, like as a group, one of the like biggest things that I would suggest, like heavily suggest, is to go do an improv class together. It doesn't need to be a big course. It doesn't need to be much other than like a couple classes together as a group. Because one of the ones that I saw, and it was love it or hate it, it was wildly successful, but ridiculousness on MTV. That's what they did to get their chemistry to boost. Chanel West Coast, Stilo, and Rob all did improv classes together for a little while to like get the flow of their dynamic together better, because they knew that it would fall to them always, because the guest is such an X factor and it needs to be what they can bring to the show, because there's all the episodes where it's just the 3 of them. And so, yeah, what they ended up doing is going to improv classes before kicking off that first season.
That is so funny to me, but also makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. What about you, Neal? What's going on?
I mean, my stuff is not overly exciting. It's just the Lego D&D set is a magical thing. So I've been running my kids through it. It took me a while to build it because I know I've mentioned it before, but like I've completed it, and my son was like, I'd love to build it with you. And the answer was no, you can't, because there are things literally hidden within the build that physically happen. What I wasn't fully prepared for is that you get to find the items and then add them to your minifig. And so like, as you're playing this character, if you get a new sword, there's a new sword that you put in the little hand, and a new shield, and like these items that you're finding in the story that you're going through. And so I also added a light kit because I don't know, I wanted to make this as difficult as humanly possible. I also accidentally pulled the light kit and the entire dragon and shattered the whole thing halfway through, at which point I found out that I couldn't buy the lights that I needed and had to buy a whole new kit. So that's one of the reasons why it took me so long. But I've been playing through that, and it's been awesome. And then I am in a home game that is a ton of fun, and it's like reinvigorated my painting. So I've started painting a lot more, and my character is a forest gnome. And when I bought the mini, it's true to size, which is cool in theory and terrible in practice, because painting basically what would be the equivalent of a 3-foot creature in the 25 millimeter scale is less than ideal. So
yeah, it'd be really hard.
So I have an owl as a familiar, and I have an owl familiar mini that is taller than my gnome because the gnome is sitting down. He was in a cool, in a cool pose because he's like sitting cross-legged with a spell book and a quill. And I was like, what a cool pose. And then it showed up and I was like, oh no, this is awful. Yeah. So I just got done doing like my first pass of painting, like not the like, like all the add-on kind of painting of like really like panel lining style extra, just kind of like the base layers. And I'm gonna take a minute. But yeah, I have a whole painting setup where I have like my logo for the LLC that I had made on it and all kinds of stuff. So I'm trying to really get back into painting.
I'm always really impressed by people who have the patience for that, because I do not. So props to you. I can't wait to see what it looks like when you're done.
Yeah, I'll send you, I'll put it on the Discord, some of my, like the current set painting. I literally added I had a terrain piece, and it's a mushroom because he's a forest gnome. And so I put it on there. Also, this is very random. In Critical Role, I do not remember which character, but the character was so old that every day that they started, there was a chance they would die. I've chosen to do this with this character. So every day that I start, I roll the percentile die. And if I roll a 1, I'm dead. I didn't wake up that night. So that's what I'm doing. I got like I said, there was things that got cut. I got a couple things in the can, but I actually have to follow an NDA on those, so I can't.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Last time I got to talk about it the whole time with the MCDM stuff. It didn't matter, but this one's not the same. So
it's true. I didn't add the caveat, so now no one will know until they listen to this whole thing.
Okay, surprise question. Do you, and I know where I'm going to put myself on this scale. So do you put as a DM, because the topic at hand, do you put yourself on the scale of giving too few magic items, giving too many, or you're like, nah, I feel like I landed that plane just right?
So, I mean, in the beginning, for sure, way too many.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just like stumble into it without thinking about it, where you're like, oh, I'll do this and do this and do this. And then your players take advantage and you're like, oh, wait, I have given you access to all of these things that I did not intend for you to have access to, which has definitely happened. But I think, to be honest, nowadays, I'm like just under the sweet spot where they're like, ooh, can we have this? Can we have this? Can we have this? And then every once in a while, I'll give them something to satiate the appetite, But I'm kind of in a shorter campaign now. It's not like 1 to 20 that we're doing. And so I'm giving them magical items here and there, but it's kind of like one significant one per person that has to do with their backstory or their goals or whatever. And it makes it more interesting and story driven that way. But yeah, for sure in the past, like I did a magical school that had been abandoned and they broke in. And one of the levels of this tower, I thought it would be funny if there was like a potions class and there were just cupboards full of like junk potions that people had made that you didn't really know what they were going to do because they're student potions. And so my brother, of course, immediately dumped all, 100 or whatever that I rolled on the D100 potions into his bag. And then would take one every morning just to see what happens. And I would roll on a random table to kind of like see. So every once in a while there was good stuff. Like one time he got gender swapped for a day, which was really funny to like see him have to role play that. Or one, he just turned into a cabbage for 8 hours and they just kind of had to figure out what to do without him. But that was actually a lot of fun, even though it could have gone very poorly.
That's awesome. I do like that you've basically taken the Price is Right approach and chosen not to be the jerk who chooses $1. So great. $1. You didn't go over. So, no, I'm with you. I've definitely done. Oh, I still do over. I'd rather, I mean, if I'm going to go a direction, I'm going to end up going over long before I'm going to go under. And then I'll just overcorrect the over and just let it ride for a while until I feel like things have evened out, and then I'll look back into it. But I'm definitely going over more often than not. It is what it is. But I will say, and this will like, yeah, this will string us right into the topic, because one of the things that, like, when I think about like a con game or the cruise or a one shot at my home table, I'll be honest with you, I don't really check or like in-depth check what a person is choosing for their class or their species or anything like that. I'd like to be aware, but I'm not involved, if you will. Like, choose what you want. It's mostly going to be fine. I can figure it out. But I will say, like, whatever metric I've been for, like, these are the magic items. Like, let's say we're starting at 12 and I give a certain set that you can take. I am very pointed of like, no, you tell me exactly which magic items you took, because I need to know, because that is guaranteed the thing that will be the wild X factor way more than your class or anything else you've chosen. So I know 100%. That is everything I ask is, please tell me what magic items you chose inside the parameters that I gave you.
Do you give them a list like these are the ones you can pick from, or do you say like you can pick anything uncommon or you know, that kind of thing?
So if I'm being a stickler, I will do, and I picked this up from the GM Tim. If I'm being a stickler, because I was never super involved with Adventurers League, but one of the ways that they approach it is core +1. And so you can do the 3 and then you can pick another book and then go ham, do whatever you want at that point. I don't always do that. I'll let it, because I have my D&D Beyond and it has way too much on it anyways. I'll just let that be the guide. And then I'll be like, hey, you need to tell me. And then I will double check like, hey, I don't think that's going to work because of XYZ. Would you be willing to swap it? It's rare that I ask, but I will on occasion if I don't think. Yeah. Two-way street, though. I'm doing the checking the balance because I can also tell if that's just going to be useless for them, especially if it's a one-shot or a con game or something. If I don't think it's going to be any value, I will ask. I will let them know and be like, hey, I don't really think that's going to help you very much. I would pick something else if it were me.
Yeah. I like that approach. That way they don't feel like they wasted their time. Mm-hmm. But let's jump into the list. Do we want to start with one worst, one best, and back and forth, or one best, one worst, back and forth? Who should start?
Okay. Point of order. Are these in order for you? Or
I can order them. Yeah. Like the ones I kind of picked them in an order from like 5 to 1-ish.
Okay.
Like most useful is the first is like number 1.
Okay. Ooh, then I have to rack my brain to touch.
I can flip-flop.
No, you're good. So you're saying most useful to least useful.
Other way around. I'll do like...
Yeah.
These are my top 5, starting with number 5.
Okay, and then when you get to number 1, you'll be like, this is... Okay, I'll do the same. I've done it where number 5, and then when we get to number 1, it will be by far the worst. This is in the perspective of the DM, by the way. This is not what the whole show is about. I hope you guys, so this is, yes.
This is not your Power Gamer podcast. This is
it's going to be. If you buy all the things I have, it certainly is.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to make your DM's life miserable, then try to get all of Neal's stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Number 5 on my list. I have picked the Alchemy Jug. Is that on your list?
No.
Okay, cool. I tried to pick stuff that wasn't very specific to classes just because I think I wanted something, stuff that would have utility for anybody who picked them up. So that was kind of the lens I went through. But let's read the Alchemy Jug's description. Okay, wondrous item uncommon, source DMG. This ceramic jug appears to be able to hold a gallon of liquid and weighs 12 pounds, whether full or empty. Sloshing sounds can be heard from within the jug when it is shaken, even if the jug is empty. That's interesting. You can use an action and name one liquid from the table below to cause the jug to produce the chosen liquid. Afterward, you can uncork the jug as an action and pour that liquid out up to 2 gallons per minute. So there's some limitations. The maximum amount of liquid the jug can produce depends on the liquid you named. So it's interesting. You have to use an action to name a liquid, and then you have to use an action to uncork it and pour that liquid out. So it's 2 actions plus up to a minute if it's 2 gallons that you're dumping out or more. Once the jug starts producing a liquid, it can't produce a different one or more of one that has reached its maximum until the next dawn. So it's, again, only useful once per day, which is good. I liked it because it's got all of these stipulations, but then there's a bunch of this stuff that you could see being pretty useful in different circumstances. Okay, so here's the list of the liquids. Acid, 8 ounces. That's quite a lot of acid if you were trying to melt something. Basic poison, 1/2 ounce. That's interesting, but you could dip a bunch of arrows or crossbow bolts or, one big weapon in a 1/2 ounce of basic poison, and that could be interesting. Beer, 4 gallons, useful in bartering or any other circumstance. Honey, 1 gallon. Mayonnaise, I don't know when you would use that, but I'm sure someone has. Mayonnaise, 2 gallons. Oil, 1 quart. Vinegar, 2 gallons. Water, fresh, 8 gallons. Water, salt, 12 gallons. Wine, 1 gallon. So yeah, I actually have only seen this used in a few different circumstances, so I guess it could cause problems. But to me, this is more of like a super useful utility item that you could find a lot of different ways to use. But I like the role play aspect of a lot of these, like the alcohols or the honey or the oil, vinegar, that kind of stuff. Like, it would be really useful to trade this stuff for stuff that you need from people, or to use it to convince people to help you, as a bartering chip. And then there's a few of them that I think could have some interesting utility in combat as well, like the acid and the poison, potentially the salt water or whatever, depending on the creature. But yeah, I like it. It's useful for anybody. You could use it in a lot of situations. And I like that it gives them some bandwidth to be creative with and try to solve problems with this item that they've got. I'm not saying it's the most powerful. I'm saying it's the most interesting or one of the most interesting choices. So that's my number 5.
I like it. Okay, I guess we get to play good DM, bad DM, because my head the whole time I've been prepping, my head's been in a very specific space about these sorts of things. So then the caution I give is that, like, yeah, it depends on the person, but be prepared that they're just going to abuse this, because it would be like, of course, we traveled this many days. I've made this much beer and I'm going to sell it for this much. And it's like, yeah, that's interesting.
But they have to have barrels to sort in, and they've got a way to ship it. So if you really want to put all that effort in, go for it. We're not saying it's the best beer, whatever.
But at the same time, what I did in a game, the DM allowed me to create a specific spell for one of my characters. And it was, instead of purify food and drink, it was ferment food and drink. And so I was being very specific. And then I was taking a lot of time and a lot of effort with this character to do that sort of thing. And so he played into it. And so I would sell it at each town we would go to. I didn't have a lot. I would sell it for a very reasonable price because I wanted the notoriety of it. I think it was like Gimdall's Grog or something like that. Of course, I was playing a Dwarven Cleric, but at the time. And so then I would sell it and then just become famous for this thing that was at all these taverns, basically. So like you said, there's a lot that can be done with it, because what's stopping a person from one day doing 4 gallons of beer and then 1 gallon of honey and doing something more interesting, or starting to mix these together? I mean, heck, what if someone uses the beer and puts the poison in it? Like, there's a lot to be done with this sort of thing. And like you said, it's more that any table that you see usually leads to like a lot of thought and options.
I also like that it could become a piece that, like you said, if it becomes a business, then what if you start eating into someone else's business and then they send people after you to figure out, where's he getting all of this? Like, he leaves town and then all of a sudden he comes back with a bunch of beer, and, then it becomes like a thing they try to steal from you or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting role-playing options, and also, a lot of problem solving you can do with this. All right, Neal, what's your number 5?
If we didn't mention it, this is also all tier 1. It'll be. I know it'll be in the title, so there's that. But this is all tier 1, so we'll never go above uncommon. So this one is the headband of intellect, because your intelligence score is now 19 while you wear this headband. It has no effect on you if your intelligence is 19 or higher, which is highly unlikely because this is an uncommon item. this shirks the responsibility of point buy. It shirks the responsibility of multiple ability score increases. It's the equivalent of how many feats that I just get as an uncommon item, especially if it's something that you've thought through and decided on early, and then you forego that and then put this on there. Because if quick math, let's say I choose 13 for my intelligence and I put this on, that's the equivalent of taking 3 feats.
Yeah.
As an uncommon item. And I completely fundamentally changed that character, especially if it was also a character who didn't have intelligence, but I've taken the things that require intelligence. And if the other players aren't doing something like this, it has a chance that this player with this item becomes very notable for their ability to do things, especially outside of their class. If they're not like the wizard who had a 16 because that's the highest they could have with a point buy and then has a 19 now. Maybe they can bump to an 18. Maybe they can't. But even at an 18, then it becomes useless for them. So typically it's not the person that needed it, air quote, needed it or wanted it. It's going to be somebody else.
Yes. Gauntlets of Ogre Power. I don't know if that's on your list, but kind of a similar vein, right?
It is. And that will carry with it a hilarious story about a character of Neal's who is using them when he absolutely shouldn't be. So that's coming.
Yeah, it's funny. Of both of those items, I've had both of them come up in games. Headband of Intellect came up as a joke near the end of a Ghosts of Saltmarsh game because there was a barbarian in my party who had really low intelligence, and then kind of as a joke, he got it within like the last few sessions. And, all of a sudden was super well spoken and a crazy tactician. And it was just kind of a bit. But definitely not a tier 1 item in my book. I agree.
You know what? We could do a snake draft. Let's just knock it out right now because it got brought up. Number 4 is the Gauntlets of Ogre Power, because that 2.5-foot forest gnome that I was telling you about has a 19 strength because the fighter already had an 18. So what's there's no numerical benefit for them to put them on.
And the fighter's going to have a bunch of points they get anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a 10. And so also I was the only one that did any investigative work to find them in the first place. Also, I had detect magic. I was like, those are awesome. And I'm going to put them on. So whenever I don't feel like using a cantrip, I just use my magical staff and I beat the brakes off of them because it's a 1d8 plus 4 because this 2.5-foot guy is super, super strong. So yeah, I've been using them. I shouldn't be doing that at all, but it's very funny. And yeah, so I've been using the Gauntlets of Ogre Power. This is the same thing, especially if it were to be like a dexterous character that also layers the strength on, because that is going to change things very, very much. If it's a thief that says these bracers don't do anything, all the other bracers don't do anything for me, but yeah, I'm going to take that. And I'm going to have a 19 strength all of a sudden. And now all my athletics checks, coupled with my acrobatics, coupled with my damage, so on and so forth. Do I take a composite bow instead?
Yeah. Or the barbarian, all of a sudden, they don't have to be very strong. They can dump it all into Dex and Con and then be strong with those or whatever. Yeah.
And again, it's just you have the chance to give basically the equivalent of 3. For me, it was 4 feats worth of ability score increase. Was one. So
I've actually had a character who had Gauntlets of Ogre Power, but he was a wizard. So it was like your gnome, right? Like it's like situationally, like every once in a while it comes up and I'm like, oh, that was nice to have. But like if there's ever a strength saving throw, I'm like, oh, this is actually okay. But it just, the way I was playing that character, he didn't really find the need to use them that often, especially since we already had strong people in the party, but they didn't need it either. So just kind of like, all right, I'm popping them on. Why not? I do it all the time. I don't cast any first level spells because I'm going to go up and I'm going to help you get flanking and I'm going to cast shield a whole bunch because I don't actually want to die. Just running through everybody's legs.
Yep.
All right. If we're snake drafting it, then it is my turn to do my number 4. I have chosen the Ever Smoking Bottle. My players have used this before I have given it out in a game. Wondrous item uncommon. Smoke leaks from the lead-stoppered mouth of this brass bottle, which weighs 1 pound. When you use an action to remove the stopper, a cloud of thick smoke pours out in a 60-foot radius from the bottle. The cloud's area is heavily obscured. Each minute, the bottle remains open, and within the cloud, the radius increases by 10 feet until it reaches its maximum radius of 120 feet. The cloud persists as long as the bottle is open. Closing the bottle requires you to speak its command word as an action. Once the bottle is closed, the cloud disappears after 10 minutes. A moderate wind, 11 to 20 miles per hour, can also disperse the smoke after 1 minute, and a strong wind, 21 miles per hour or more, can do so after one round. Yeah, again, just a really kind of useful, flavorful item that I've had players use in the past, and they were able to kind of do a lot of fun stuff with it that I think makes it not game breaking, but really worthwhile. After a while, their enemies are going to catch on that they have some trick up their sleeve if they keep escaping or whatever. But situationally, yeah, I've had players use it to get out of hairy spots or to hide themselves when they're trying to sneak into a secret place and don't want people to like see how to get in somewhere. Or, you know, I've had them use it to like try to stop riots or to hide their ship while they're traveling somewhere to try to, you know, to kind of escape. So yeah, it was a ton of fun to use. But again, I didn't find it game breaking because everybody in the cloud is dealing with this heavily obscured unless they have something else that prevents them from, or allows them to see like tremor sense or whatever, right? So it's still an even playing field. It's not like they get to, you know, deal a bunch of damage without any consequences. They are also dealing with the smoke, but I feel like it caused a lot more fun and a lot more like problem solving than it did power creep or problems.
Yeah. Again, it's situational enough, and then it can be removed, like, you know, gust of wind or something like that. Or you plan ahead, or you run away, or you do something, you know, with your NPCs. So, I mean, I like it. Like you said, it's something that can be used. And especially if there's a character that it benefits more, like if it's a rogue or something like that, there can be a lot of things that can be done with it that are, like you said, it's not game breaking. You're also heavily obscured, and so are they. So I like it.
And you have to leave it open, you know, or plug it up. So you can like open it up and then plug it back up and then run away and kind of, you know, like smoke bomb your way out of a situation. But you still have to use actions to do that, and you're still dealing with the being unable to see too. So yeah, I like it. Okay, snake drafting. My next item is the Clockwork Amulet. This comes from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Wondrous item, common. This copper amulet contains tiny interlocking gears and is powered by the magic from Mechanus, a plane of clockwork predictability. A creature that puts an ear to the amulet can hear faint ticking and whirring noises coming from within. When you make an attack roll while wearing the amulet, you can forego rolling the d20 to get a 10 on the die. Once used, this property can't be used again until the next dawn. So this is interesting. It's kind of like the rogue's reliable talent or something like that, where you get an automatic 10 on a die, and then you get to add your modifiers. The reason I like it is because it's only usable once per day, and because a 10 is not necessarily game breaking unless you have a bunch of other buffs on top of your attack bonuses, which would guarantee you to hit something. But like a 10 on a die plus your attack bonuses may not hit the biggest monsters you're going to be facing, depending on kind of what tier of gameplay you're at. So even at level 1, it guarantees maybe like one spell hit per round or per day or something like that. But again, I feel like it's not really game breaking. Also, it prevents a crit as well. So it gives them a 10, but they don't have the possibility to roll a crit and double their damage either. It just kind of gives them I really want to hit this one particular thing, and this will give me a way to do it. There's a bunch of other stuff that they can get later on at higher levels that would probably, you know, give them more boost than this. And so, you know, it's probably going to get replaced eventually if they're kind of like if they're casting spells or doing attacks and they really want to hit something, you know, giving themselves advantage or whatever. Advantage would definitely increase your average above a 10. But yeah, I think that it is situationally good, and it gives them kind of like one trick up their sleeve that they can use to hit something reliably, especially if they kind of already know the armor class.
Yeah, and that was actually going to be one of my points, is that typically you're not going to do this out the gate. Like you're going to jump into a fight and say, I used my amulet. No, because you're not 100% sure. And there's something in my brain that kind of speaks to like the Clockwork Mechanist vibe of that, of like, no, I know I will hit, so I will do this thing and I will guarantee the hit. It is important to note like the verbiage, and certainly we can get into, any table can choose to get into a discussion about how this would work, and we can adjudicate that for you right now. And I'm sure no one will disagree with my opinion because, again, welcome to the internet. No, but one of the things is like, it says you can forego rolling the D20. So for me, that's not you rolled, you didn't hit and you're going to switch it. It's not, I've got advantage, I'm going to switch 1 to a 10. It's, I don't roll, I take a 10. It's a term that used to be common, more of a 3rd edition thing where you would just take a 10. You're not using a round, you're using a longer, I think it was a minute to take a 10 and an hour to take a 20 was the way it used to be. And you're taking a 10. That's it. There's no question. Because reliable talent feels broken at times because you've rolled, you failed, but you got a 10 instead. This is completely different. This is just no roll at all. You just get a 10 and then you go from there. So I like it because, like you said, it could be a dire moment where I cannot leave this to chance. I need the certainty of I will hit because I'm going to use a 10.
Yeah, I like that point. You could definitely reflavor this. Instead of it being from Mechanist, you could reflavor it as some sort of luck thing or anything like that. Whatever is interesting or flavorful.
And this one is also fun fun to note is that it is not attunement required.
Yeah.
So you could just, you're like, and then, use your turn or your action or whatever to give it to another party member and then go from there.
True. Like if they have a particular ability that's going to be more potent against the enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it could be like toss it to the paladin because if they hit, we can do divine smite. Toss it to the barbarian because they have, something going on, or toss it to the rogue because then they can get sneak attack on their turn guaranteed or something. So yeah, I like it.
All right. Over to you for your number 3 and number 2.
Yeah. Number 3, the broom of flying. Because the broom of flying will, as an action, you can make it hover beneath you, at which point it can be ridden in the air. And it has a fly speed of 50 feet and can carry up to 400 pounds. Now, if you go over the 200-pound mark, it goes all the way down to 30 feet. And the broom stops hovering when you land or when you're no longer on it, except for the fun little fact that anyone can just send it to a location within 1 mile with nobody on it, as long as you give it a good enough description. And then it could also carry 400 pounds worth of stuff a mile away. No. Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to just navigate and deal with because it's not just a fly speed. I mean, there's all the discussions about a species having a fly speed at jump and how you navigate that and mitigate some of that because it is a lot, that mobility. This is wild because it'll just give it to anybody and you could carry others with you. I mean, sure, we can play with the logistics of how that happens or doesn't happen, but it's magic. It's a magical broom that will happily carry 400 pounds to any location of your choosing within a mile. Like I said, as an uncommon item, that's a lot to navigate at a lower level. It can have the chance to just fundamentally change the game you're playing.
And this breaks like 90% of traps and obstacles that you're going to find at these lower tiers as well. Mm-hmm. Like I just fly over the bottomless pit and I fly over the river full of, aboleths. And I guess you're not doing aboleths in tier 1, but you get the idea.
And we don't have to worry about how do we get it back across. I just tell it to go back across and it does.
It's like having a really powerful drone.
I mean, marginal mitigation is that it does require attunement, but oh no.
I've had a player who chose this as their item and I immediately was like, oh, okay. Yep. Probably should have vetted that before. And I mean, they ended up using it mostly to goof around and like do kick flips. Like he was riding it like a skateboard. So, whatever.
Like Marty McFly.
Yeah, basically. higher levels, you're going to be dealing with
yeah.
this kind of stuff anyway, so it's not really an issue. But yeah, lower level, I would definitely not give this to anybody under, I don't know, 8 or so.
Yeah, because it's a third level spell. So when you think about action economy or skills.
But the spell has a limit, right? This is just like, I can fly forever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can clue you into what number 2 is.
All right.
So
give me some hints.
400 pounds. We laugh at 400 pounds when we talk about this item because this item can in fact hold up to 8,000 pounds. It's not. You don't have to attune to it. Of course you don't. Oh, I hate
you don't have to attune to this and it can hold 8,000 pounds?
Mm-hmm. For it is none other than the immovable rod.
Oh, here is our first crossover.
Oh, nice. It's an uncommon item. All you got to do is click a button and then just say, but you were moving forward. And then this thing that could withstand 8,000 pounds stopped you, blasted through your insides, whatever horrifying thing that the player comes up with, or a multitude of hilarious things. A creature can take the action. It requires a DC 30 strength check to move it up to 10 feet. DC 30 strength check to move it 10 feet. Yep. Or you click the button and you move it wherever you want. 8,000 pounds and a DC 30 strength check to move it. And an unattuned, uncommon item.
What's the lowest level monster that has the ability to swallow something?
Like
or to swallow a PC?
Whole? I don't know. I don't know if there's a way I could look at that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to search that. All right. Keep making your case, Neal. Make your case.
Oh,
why is this one that you wouldn't give?
Oh, man, this is... Oh, what? Oh, we could do it way earlier than I thought. All right, so you got to... Well, I mean, my character's done for, but all it takes is a CR 1/4 giant frog, and the ability of swallow is available. So, pretty sure we're gonna go ahead and get the swallow ability real early.
Wow. What's the next one after?
Giant frog, giant toad, kraken, remoras, purple worm, bahir, Tarask, regisaur, giant subterranean lizard.
So mostly a lot bigger and a lot badder stuff. Okay.
For the most part.
I haven't really used giant frogs before that I can recall. But I get your point that they can like get swallowed and then click it. And then if that thing is moving, it just, fillets itself.
Giant toad's our first option that is going to be with it. Giant toad is a large creature. It's a CR1 and can swallow medium creatures.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's just one of those, for me, it's the fact that it's 8,000 pounds in a DC 30 with the fact that it's also uncommon and not attuned. That's a wild set that gets combined with the right player, with the right idea. Like there's a lot that's hard to argue when they come up with ideas because it's, what's going to move it? That's the name. It's an immovable rod that'll hold 8,000 pounds. Like the things you can do while holding 8,000 pounds in a DC 30 strength check. But at the same time, it also, I mean, I will like to play both sides real quick. I don't know. They might not come up with anything and it never does anything at all, or it breaks my game. I'm just saying it has the chance for both.
All right.
Interesting.
I'm
going to click it off on them. That's what I'm going to have. I'm going to have the NPC try and click it every time.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not attunement, then anybody can unclick it if they know how it works.
Sure. If you go listen to my episode of Kill Every Monster, where I played a Displacer Beast, Aram was playing a Kinku Ranger that was trying to kill me, and he used an immovable rod to try and like stay above me. And I was like, hey, I'm smart enough to figure out what's going on. Can I try and push the button? Because it's not an attunement issue. It's a button issue. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. Like he had me roll a couple rolls, and he's like, yeah, you push it. And then bam, he slams to the ground and I kill him. It was good times. So I would absolutely. So that, I mean, I guess I've done it myself. So I guess that is another option. The other thing is push the button, because you can push the button as the DM anytime you want, because again, it's not an attuned item. It's a magic item. You use the utilize action in 5.5. You just push it. And now you have an immovable rod. All right, never mind. I'm back on board. It's terrifying, though. It still remains a terrifying item. The things I've seen over the years, I am genuinely afraid of this one.
All right, that was your number 2?
Yep.
All right. Snaking back over to me, my number 2 is Sending Stones. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I've ever read the description well enough to see this, but this is interesting. Sending Stones, source DMG, Wondrous item uncommon. Sending stones come in pairs with each smooth stone carved to match the other so the pairing is easily recognized. While you touch one stone, you can use an action to cast the sending spell from it. The target is the bearer of the other stone. If no creature bears the other stone, you know that fact as soon as you use the stone and don't cast the spell. Once sending is cast through the stones, they can't be used again until the next dawn. If one of the stones in a pair is destroyed, the other one becomes non-magical. So this is interesting. I actually didn't know that the limit to the sending stones was once per day, because sending only lasts one round and is one action. So you only get to send a 25-word or less message to another creature, and that's it. You don't get to keep talking back and forth, which is definitely how it has been used at my tables this whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. It's a lot less useful than I thought, but I like that because this doesn't become the Rocky Talkies that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Where everyone's got one and we all can talk to each other whenever we want. So there's no problem with splitting the party because we're all in constant communication. Listeners don't know this, but my background is currently the Seinfeld Jerry's apartment because I love Seinfeld. A lot of jokes about Seinfeld are that if any of them had cell phones at any point, then 90% of the plots of the episodes would be useless because they could communicate with each other instantly and know where each other are and have no problems. I find that to be the case. In the past, when I've had sending stones available to my party, they use them and then it kind of breaks the immersion a little bit because they're able to plan and talk and communicate very easily like a skilled, trained team of operatives. But this is much more situational, and it's just basically one free use of the spell per day. But I still think it would be very useful in a lot of different circumstances.
It's 2 uses.
Oh, one stone each?
Yeah, because this is the way I would do it anyway, because like you're saying, it's more limited with the way this is written, but as part of the sending spell, you get to respond freely. So yes, I would do it so that both sides get one use. One person,
each stone can cast it once. I like that. I think that's fair.
Also, I definitely didn't remember this art being the cranium rats, which is a terrifying way to do this. I don't like this at all. I'd be comfortable adding more stones to the set.
So that
while keeping this limitation, keeping the limitation of one use per stone per day, but I would allow more stones to be added. Basically, more stones can be added to your family plan for low price of $9.99, but per stone. But also allowing it to say you do sending, it sends it to the other stones and they can respond. Because if it's once per day, let's go. I'll add a stone per person. It's fine. We'll navigate it because once you're the sender, everyone can send back. And then we get a little closer to the Rocky Talkie situation. But then I would just keep a better track of it and say, yeah, sure. Each person that wants to spend and get a stone and use it, then you have one use of sending per day.
But inevitably, if the plan is going south, there's no way they can keep going back and forth to determine like you only get a handful of chances to respond to each other before that's it. And then you've either got to cast the spell or regroup and figure out something else. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it doesn't break the game to me where everyone's on their headset and can talk to each other perfectly.
Yeah.
And, then it's like, okay, well, what is the point of this puzzle or this thing I have crafted for you to experience if you can just all figure it out simultaneously?
I would definitely also, like you said, do it's sending. It's cool, but it's 25 words. So
yes,
choose wisely.
Yes. All right. We already spoiled this, but my number one choice which was Neal's number 2 choice, is the immovable rod. But I'm so glad that this happened because I love the immovable rod, and I think you should give it to your low level players because of so many fun things they can do with it. Now, I've never had anyone break my game with this thing. Sure, I've had them like tear apart a dragon from the inside once or twice, but that's all in good fun. That's kind of the point of the game, is to make them feel heroic. And usually this is a last ditch effort, and it has to be situational too. The person who has the rod has to be the one that gets swallowed and can use it. And I feel like that doesn't happen as often as you think it would, unless everyone got swallowed, in which case that's probably best case scenario, unless you're heading for a TPK, in which case you should listen to our episode about what to do when you TPK your players. Go check that out. I like the immovable rod. I have used it as a player and solved many problems. I have had my players use it and solve many problems, and they've had a ton of fun with it. They call it the click stick.
Nice.
They ask for it every game we have because it's just so darn useful. And I love seeing what they can come up with to use it. You can use it as a pulley. You can use it in so many different ways to kind of have fun with it.
My perspective is simply on one side of the screen. The second I'm on the other side of the screen, don't believe you me. I'm asking for the immovable rod. I'm gunning for that deck of mini things. I'm a monster.
Oh,
but if I'm on the other side, I'm just like, no, we're okay, right? We don't have to if we don't want to.
Look, I don't give it out willy-nilly. I make them work for it.
Yeah.
But I think it's so fun. I have heard, I don't remember where I heard this, but someone described in one of their game worlds, there is a dragon statue hovering over some town somewhere. Someone put the immovable rod in a dragon's mouth, clicked it, and then they turned the dragon into stone, and it is just suspended there above this town with this thing in its mouth. And that is just so freaking funny to me. That's what D&D is about. Is just like, look, I love the storytelling. I love serious games, but I also love the shenanigans. And I think an immovable rod is just full of shenanigans. And I never fault a player for using something like that against me. So that's my number one. I love it. I use it all the time, and I have so much fun.
I'm going to admit this, and I've gone full dark DM, and I apologize for everything that happens right now. I'd totally be like, you think that stone is going to withstand this process of this tiny rod? Heck no. That thing broke its teeth out and fell on that town. How dare you?
No, it holds up 8,000 pounds for sure. I mean, physics.
You're right.
Physics.
The item needs to withstand this, though. Is the item that's being held needs to withstand it. The immovable rod is fine.
Oh, the rock of the dragon.
Yes.
Sure.
No, I would just be a jerk.
Yeah.
No, I would be a jerk I would be long term.
That would be a fun catalyst for a campaign, is some punk kid, figured out how to fly and flew up and then clicked the rod and then just demolished the town underneath.
Or just deteriorates over time, where like the heroes get a notice of just like, hey, I think the dragon's moving. They're like, is the spell wearing off? It's like, no, it's just been moving enough that it's grinding through its teeth, because the rod's not going to do anything. The dragon, however. Yeah.
I guess roll for erosion. Yeah. See how many years it lasts before the rain beats it down.
This is amazing. It's just filling up with rain because the mouth is up.
Yes, and then it freezes in the winter.
And it eventually surpasses the weight.
Yeah,
because it's full of water. 5 gallons of water weighs 40 pounds.
Water's heavy.
Yeah. Okay, are you ready? Let's see if I can.
I'm ready.
Okay. This is our first. This is a common item. This only costs 1 silver piece per.
Oh no!
And it is awful. And so, how many can you buy? Way too many. Way too many flasks of oil.
Okay.
Because
interesting.
It's just,
this is not where I expected this to go.
It's just the numbers on it and the things you can do with it at low levels. It's so obtainable. You have to make the choice as a DM to say no, or else No, it's 100% available. It's just oil. Everyone's using it for lanterns. The idea of you saying no is kind of you just choosing to do so. But when you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with throwing an oil flask, and you can hit anybody within 20-foot range, and they must succeed on a dexterity saving throw, DC 8 plus your dexterity modifier and your proficiency bonus, or be covered in oil. And then if they take any fire damage, it's 5 additional fire damage. But wait, there's more. I poured it all over the ground, and you're going to take 2 rounds of 5 fire damage in addition. And this cost me a silver piece to just do this whenever I feel like it. So if I have
a silver piece for 15 fire damage over 3 rounds.
Well, no, it's either 10 or 5. So if I throw it and hit
either
him,
on the floor or hit you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I throw it and I hit them, then they'll be covered in oil. But then that needs a second hit. But if you have it at a 5-foot square, it'll burn in that 5-foot square for 2 rounds for 5 additional damage each time. I mean,
have you had a bad experience?
Yeah. I mean, it's when you get someone that just, this is their thing. And it only takes one to tip off everyone's hand to say, we can all do it. And that's where you start to get into like a bit of an issue, is every person realizes that's something available to them. And so everyone starts
then they're
doing
just
it.
the oil boys.
Yeah.
And that's their thing.
Yeah. Portal boys. Yeah, they just start throwing oil at everyone or prepping all the time. And so then there is this version where like the game starts to like bog down because they're trying to prep the oil for every scenario that they're getting themselves into. The second thing is that it just starts leading into little interesting bits that like whether you want to deal with them or not, if they fall over, oh man, what a joy. Because now they're covered in oil, or are, like I said, are they spending a lot of time getting more oil, looking into oil, making their own oil, like the oil boys, like
saving up to buy a ship so they can go whaling and harvest their own. Would you rule that on a nat 1 the bottle breaks and then they are covered in their own oil?
Absolutely.
That's pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Crit fail.
Have you ever watched Arrested Development?
Yes. Crit fail. The cork was undone. Yes. All of
this
the
reminds me
seasons.
of Job with like the lighter fluid hidden, the line of lighter fluid in his sleeve, and he's always accidentally spraying people with this lighter fluid.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, but if you think like if you have the right character too, that's a wicked DC to force on them too at low levels. That's a solid DC as well. Like it's
Dex plus proficiency plus 8. Yeah.
It's on par with anything any spell that would be cast.
For sure. Yeah. If you've got an artificer or if you've got a player who just likes to do silly stuff like this, they're going to like create a sheepskin bag on their back with like a bellows, hose. And they're just going to squirt this stuff all over the place. And then the wizard's going to drop fireball and,
Yeah, and while it may not seem like a lot, it's the just rampant availability, because I cannot make a strong argument for, yes, you absolutely can buy as much as you want. Because, I mean, the secondary factor is I just buy a bunch of empty vials and I fill them up because I also purchased the alchemy jug and I'm making a quart of oil all the time.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it's only once per day. You could definitely go and clean out a large city's store of oil and get more than a quart in one day for pretty cheap. For 2 silver, you can get a flask. Yeah.
Because its use is for lamps and lanterns, which is what sustains the...
Unless you're doing torches and stuff, like just really basic.
Or you're doing Eberron and it's all, it's more magical than that. But for the most part, in most of the settings that we're playing, in most of the ways that we play them, it's oil. And so again, as a DM, I will never have a strong argument for no. Like you don't have the right credentials to buy oil in this town. I don't know what to do.
Now I just want to play a character who does this, and that's their thing.
It's great. I love it. You just
it sounds like a one-shot character to me for sure.
Oh yeah. And then you just jump on something. Kaboom! Just drinking random potions and tossing oil at people. It's a great idea. Yeah.
While I hang from my
Immovable
rod.
That's perfect.
Yep.
You're hanging from the immovable rod, dropping vials or flasks of oil on them. This is genius.
Yep.
I'm back in. I'm on the other side
What
of the
could go
screen.
wrong?
I'm back in. Oh, gosh.
Well, Neal, I think we've done it. Even though this isn't DMnastics, we have covered our top 5 best and worst magical items to give your tier 1 party.
Yep. Do it all. Just give them all. See what happens. I don't mind.
All 10 of these in one game.
This is a terrible idea, but if you wanted to tell us how it went, you can always email us at dungeonmasterblock@gmail.com. And boy, would I love to read it. I would love nothing more than to read about you giving a party all of these items and seeing what happens.
But if you can think of way better, worst, or best magical items to give your players at tier 1, then you should head to the Discord, to the podcast roundtable channel, and let us know your thoughts and opinions. Bonus if you have stories about the best or the worst instances where players use these items against you.
And as always, the Dungeon Masters Block is a proud member of the Block Party Podcast Network, where you can check out other shows like Dungeons and Dragons and Daughters, The Bad Venture Club, Titans of Altera, How Not to DM, and more.
Thanks for listening to the Dungeon Masters Block, the place where we come to talk about the Dungeon Master, the most important person in the game. The only person capable of playing God,
Killing characters,
and lowering the egos and dumping oil on all of the people at the table.
I'm DM Neal. Good night and good luck.
I'm DM Derrick, telling you to keep it chaotic and keep it clever, and keep on dungeon mastering.
It's not inspiration, it's not wisdom, and it's bad advice.
What you should do is you should just give them every magical item and then bog down the fun of the table by making them have to choose which one to use in every specific situation. And then, everyone will just give up after a few weeks. And then you don't have to run games anymore.
I like this. You become the immovable rod.
Basically.
Oh, it's awful. I hate this. I hate all of it. I'm the worst though, because I'll be the guy that takes all of these on the other side, which is.
Goodbye.